sitting comfortably, and I mean, this is the most comfortable I've been in shell. I think maybe it's the gardening. Maybe it's like doing a lot of housework and doing like gardening and everything is why I've never felt this comfortably 330 pounds.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazzy Fitness.
So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel.
So Samson Dauda becomes the first bodybuilder in the history of this sport who just said that he's sitting comfortably at 330 pounds. Just take a moment and think about that for a second. Just go back and listen to guys like Flex Lewis and Dennis Wolf on how they felt absolutely horrible, especially during the off-season, and the amount of food they had to intake that was required to grow and to maintain that kind of muscle mass. And we have to keep in mind both those guys, they were considerably smaller than Samson Dauda. Now Samson, that is why, is a totally unique breed in terms of the fact that he doesn't have to eat like 7,000 calories in order to be over 300 pounds. The irony is that when he was in that 10 weeks period, where he was totally off, when he was in the detox, and when he was cleaning out his system, he was still somehow able to manage a 300 pounds physique without any gear, just relying on food. And I have no idea how someone cannot be impressed by this. Name one bodybuilder in the recent past who was able to look this lean at 330 pounds. And I must say you have to agree with Jay Cutler that if Samson nails it one more time this year, if he comes in for the Olympia even better than last year, he is 100% the favorite to repeat this year and win 2 for 2. And in my opinion, even if he comes down to 290 pounds, which many of us think he should, because it's the lack of conditioning at the end of the day that's really holding him back, as per the judges. And we have to keep in mind, he was about 305 pounds at the Olympia last year, and he was even heavier at this year's Arnold. So if he comes down in weight a bit, but the result of that is that he unlocks a whole new level in terms of conditioning and the detail. It's gonna be very, very hard to beat a bodybuilder like that. And we don't really have to talk about how impressive he looks in this recent update, especially from the front. He always looks so huge and so lean and so aesthetic from every angle. However, I am gonna talk about his back, which by the way is looking kind of thick, and he already has those lines in his hamstrings. And Samson Dauda hitting that crucifix pose at 330 pounds. That is as impressive as it gets. How about this impressive recent physique update from Blessing Awudibu that was just posted today? No show in mind, no announcements, just working to build a better body, a better version of himself compared to what we saw at this past Legion Sports. And when he feels 100% right, when the time comes, he's gonna step back on the stage, maybe sometime later this year. Now, if we just ignore the fact that the pop and that 3D effect that was missing on Blessing in the upper half, which by the way is something that he had even back in 2022. The fact is he just wasn't stage ready for this year's comeback that he made at this past Legion Sports. And I do believe that it just would have been a lot better had he just continued to diet for let's say another 4 to 6 weeks and entered a show like Italy Pro. Now obviously he would not have beaten a guy like Behrouz Tabani, but at least he himself, he would have gotten an idea on how much his legs have came up, how much improvements he has been able to make since 2023, or have they even grown at all? Because the thing is, he went up to 325 pounds at the peak of this past off-season, and the fact is, it doesn't really matter how much you weigh in the off-season if that doesn't translate on the stage. And honestly, as harsh as this is gonna sound, the biggest change that we saw in Blessing's physique at the Legion Sports this year, that was his waist and his obliques getting wider, totally ruining his amazing flow and making him look a bit blocky. Now Blessing is a fighter, and in no way, shape or form are we implying that he did not work hard. He obviously did. And the fact is, it wasn't easy for him to go up to 320 pounds. But maybe there is a change of strategy required here. But do let me know, what did you guys think? So I have seen a lot of comments from many of you guys, Quinton Beesford is overhyped. Now this statement can be true if we take account of the fact that he hasn't been able to win a pro show since 2019, because that is how long Quinton has been competing as a pro. But people sometimes tend to forget that he turned pro at a very young age, and this might be shocking to hear for a lot of people. But this guy isn't even 30 yet. So 5 years from now, when guys like Samson Dauda and Andrew Jack, Brendan Carey, William Bonac, and maybe Hadi Choopan, they are retired, where would Quinton be? If you ask me, I do think that he will be in the prime of his professional career. And the reason I'm saying that is simply one thing: his insane structure, one of the most amazing aesthetics in the entire pro bodybuilding at the moment. The flow that he has, that is so damn unique. Now don't make a mistake thinking that this will be another year for Quinton experimenting. I mean, look at his physique right now. This is him on empty stomach at 6 weeks out from this year's Tampa Pro. And you better believe that is coming there with nothing in mind but the win and his Olympia qualification for this year. Now, there are gonna be guys in that Tampa Pro lineup who are obviously gonna beat him from the back, especially in that back double biceps. That is the biggest weakness for Quinton so far. But I must say, we do not have to worry about his conditioning. He has this ability to get very shredded and come in bone dry from every angle, front to back. The biggest challenge that he's gonna face is holding on to all that muscle, all that pop, while dieting down. And one big question that all of us have in our mind is that, will this be finally that time when Quinton is gonna be big enough? We are less than 24 hours out from the men's open bodybuilding prejudging at this year's Mighty Dubai Pro, and the champ just posted another mind-blowing update. I mean, he's looking so hot and so full without any pump, and he has another day to load more carbs to properly fill out. And that means he's gonna get way hotter and way drier. Now, as much as we want all these other guys to challenge Behrouz Tabani at this show, me and all of you guys know that if we have to put our money on someone for this year's Dubai Pro, we're gonna put that on Behrouz Tabani, because in reality, that is how good Behrouz Tabani is. And you have to agree that the discrepancy between his upper and lower half, that is becoming less and less with every passing show, with every passing year. And he has become a much more complete bodybuilder than when he first came onto the scene. I mean, look at those quads, which were once a big weakness for him. They have started to flow very well and amazingly with his upper half. But this is gonna remain a focal point for him and Milos Sorsev in the future too, to bring up his quad sweep even more. So that is X-Frame, his V-taper. That can become one of the best in the world. So unless something terrible happens in the next 24 hours leading into this year's Dubai Pro, he's probably gonna be 2 times Dubai Pro champion. But do let me know what you guys think. So Stefan Matala, the former Classic Physique Pro, he posted another physique update as he slowly gets into his zone for his men's open bodybuilding debut and the prep that is now starting to ramp up, as he has already announced that he's probably gonna compete maybe sometime in September, a couple of weeks before the Olympia this year, in one of those last Olympia qualifiers. And you have to agree, every time he posts a back shot with his coach Patrick Tuor, that back which was once his biggest weakness when he was in Classic Physique, that is now turning into a very big strength for him. So just imagine, had Stefan stayed in Classic Physique, he would have literally stayed the same year after year without making any real progress. And it just would have been impossible for him to improve on these stubborn body parts with a red cap hanging over his head. So this has been a good long off season for Stefan, because if you guys remember, he did Portugal Pro last year, the show that he won, to secure his Olympia spot in Classic last year. And he made up his mind about going to men's open bodybuilding back then. So Stefan is gonna enter France Pro, which is one of the last Olympic qualifiers for this year. And as fans, we do not care where he finishes. We are just very excited to see how an additional of 20 plus pounds look on that frame, because I believe that is how much muscle mass he was losing while making the weight cutoff for Classic Physique. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.